To add or subtract the square roots, we have to make sure that the radicand, which is the number inside the square roots, are the same. And in order to do that, we have to make sure that we simplify each of the non-perfect square roots by using the perfect square roots that we know. So for example, for 180, the first perfect square root that can go into 180 evenly is 4, because we know square root of 4 is 2, so that's how I know 4 is a perfect square root. And 180 divided by 4 gives me 45. So therefore, now I know that square root of 4 times square root of 45 is going to give you square root of 180. And I can simplify square root of 4, which is 2. And I can break down square root of 45 even more, because another perfect square root number, which is 9, can go into 45 5 times. So now I can take the square root. So square root of 9 is 3. And now you're going to take the numbers outside the square root, which is 2 here, another 2, and 3, and multiply those three numbers together. That will give you 12, and bring down the square root of 5. And we do the same thing for square root of 20. So again, the first perfect square root that can go to 20 is 4, because 4 times 5 is 20. And now we take the square root. So square root of 4 is 2. So same thing, we're going to take the numbers outside the square root and multiply them. 3 times 2 is positive 6. And you bring down the square root of 5 again. So since now both terms have the same square root number, which is 5, now I can just add the number in front of the square root of 5, which is 12 and 6. And when you add 12 and 6, that's going to give you 18. And that's how you add the square roots. So you do the same thing for subtracting the square root by breaking down your non-perfect square roots again. So again, the first perfect square root that can go into 112 is 4, because 112 divided by 4 is 28. So now I'm going to take the square root, and we know what square root of 4 is. That's 2. And I can break down 28 even more by using another 4, because 4 times 7 is 28. And again, we know what square root of 4 is. That's 2. So now we're going to take the numbers outside the square root. 2 times another 2. That's going to give you 8. And you bring down the square root of 7. And our last non-perfect square root is 175. So again, the first perfect square root that can go into 175 is 25. Because 25 times 7 gives you 175. So now I can take the square root of each one. Square root of 25 is 5. So now you can multiply negative 9 times 5. And that's going to give you negative 45. And again, you just bring down the square root of 7. So same thing, since both terms have a square root of 7, so I can just subtract the numbers in front of the square root of 7, which is 8 minus 45, and that's going to give you negative 37.